First, we head to Texas for our top story where Kansas City Southern is looking to expand. And to join us for that story, we have Noi Mahoney. Noi, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Noi, so tell us a bit about what's going on here. Break it down for us.
What's happening is in Laredo, Texas, Kansas City Southern is building a second rail bridge, which will significantly increase capacity through Laredo for Kansas City Southern. Right now, there's only one rail bridge, and so what happens is Kansas City Southern will move rail 4 hours south, then they'll switch the tracks and move rail 4 hours north. So with the addition of a second bridge, they can have freight moving north and south 24/7. One bridge will be for southern freight moving south, and the other bridge will be for freight moving north.
Now, Noi, with this news, is this impacting things with the merger with CP?
I think this is part of CP and Kansas City Southern's plan all along. They're trying to provide an alternative to West Coast port congestion. So with this new rail network, when the deal finally becomes official, which they believe will happen early next year, it's going to connect ports all across Mexico and from Mexico all the way into Canada. And so the key port here will be the port of Lázaro Cárdenas, which is a port on the Pacific coast of Mexico. And CPKC, the new company, once it becomes official, believes that that port can be an alternative to the ports of LA and Long Beach on the US West Coast.
Do we know what capacity looks like right now, what the rail is currently capable of, or what they're hoping to become capable of doing when this is built?
I know in Laredo right now, Kansas City Southern is moving about 26 trains a day, north and south. And they believe with the new bridge, it'll at least double capacity. So from what officials with Kansas City Southern have told me, they believe the deal is gonna, really increase double or triple capacity for the new company.
And Noi, for those that aren't really familiar with the rail industry, how common are expansions typically?
I know I cover Kansas City Southern and Mexico quite a bit, and every year they're doing more projects, increasing capacity at ports throughout Mexico, trying to expand their rail network. So in Mexico, Kansas City Southern is pretty progressive. They're trying to increase capacity or their rail network every year.
This is such a big build, and it's going to create so much more capacity. I'm curious about what this might mean for the local area that it sits in.
Are you talking about Laredo or just where they're building some of the?
Correct.
It's going to increase business quite a bit. I mean, with the increased rail capacity, you're going to need more warehouses, more transload facilities, more trucking. So it's going to have a domino effect on the entire freight industry, in Laredo.
Noi, was there any potential headwinds for them with this expansion? Are there any kind of headwinds that companies usually face when looking to make expansions like these?
The rail bridge in Laredo has been in the works for several years, and getting permits for international bridges is not easy. So that was one of the big hurdles. I believe they already got the permit for that bridge. I think it was a year or two ago. So that was the big hurdle. But whenever you're trying to build bridges or infrastructure, there's always hurdles. But when you're trying to do it across two countries, internationally, it's even more. But, in all fairness, this bridge has come together pretty quickly. I'm pretty impressed with how quickly, both state, federal governments have pushed this through. So it's really exciting to see how fast this has come about.
No, you said it's expected to be finished at the end of this year or by next year?
The rail bridge will start construction in October of this year, and it's expected to finish by the end of 2023.
That does seem like a quick turnaround.
It is to me, definitely.
And Noi, with this piece, you also mentioned a few other things within the story. We talk about Omni Logistics opening a new shipping hub in Dallas. Can you tell us a little bit about that situation?
They're opening a major distribution hub in Dallas, and it's quite large. I believe the whole campus is going to be 3 buildings. Uh, I think a lot of their businesses are is going to be focused on e-commerce. Is exploding, has been exploding, since the pandemic started. So I believe they're trying to get even more e-commerce freight to be moving through, Dallas Fort Worth International Airport and North Texas. So it's quite an impressive campus they're building there.
Did we have any dates on when that might be finished?
Um, Off the top of my head, I don't recall seeing a date, but I'm pretty sure. I believe it might even either be open or it's going to be open by the end of the year. But I have to take a look at my story again to double check that.
Excellent. And Noi, the other big part from your story, talking about New Mexico ports expanding. Can you tell us a little bit about that one as well?
They're trying to build a new, what they call it, I believe they call it a trade port at the port of Santa Teresa in New Mexico. And Santa Teresa borders the city of Juarez in Mexico, or it's close to the border of Juarez, the U.S.-Mexico border near Juarez, Mexico. And they're trying to increase capacity at the port of Santa Teresa, which is also near port of El Paso in El Paso, Texas. And that whole area is exploding. West Texas, southern New Mexico, and northern Mexico. That whole area is becoming a huge hub for electronics manufacturing, medical equipment supply manufacturing. So it's a really big deal for that region.
And Noi, when I think about Juarez and El Paso, it takes me back to my New Mexico State days. And I remember being a football player and the coach is saying, don't go to El Paso, don't go to Juarez, whatever you do. Have things shifted a little bit since then, many years ago? Are we seeing a little bit more ease of being able to just kind of go back and forth and maybe lower activity?
I believe so. I haven't been there myself specifically in about a year or so, but I think things have settled down a little bit on both sides of the border. There was a period there in the early 2000s and maybe, about 10 years ago when things were a little bit dicey. But from what I'm hearing from my friends that live in the area and from media reports, that things have quieted down a little bit. It's a lot safer to go back and forth across the border. I know El Paso is quite safe, and I believe Juarez is quite safer than it used to be.
Now, Noah, we've talked about a couple expansions. It seems like it's on trend right now. Do you expect any other rail systems to make any moves coming up?
No, that's a great question. I think Kansas City Southern was the big prize in cross-border rail. I see Kansas City Southern or maybe some companies trying to acquire more rails, in southwestern United States and Texas. That wouldn't surprise me. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a company that's ripe for being acquired, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see more deals in the near future because cross-border trade is only going to get bigger and bigger, and railways need the capacity, so it wouldn't surprise me more deals are in the future.
Noi, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Before we let you go, it seems like there's definitely a lot of activity happening in your neck of the woods lately. What kind of stories or what will you be watching over this next week, or will this one kind of keep you busy?
This one will keep me busy, but I'm also looking at, I just attended a trade conference last week here in San Antonio, the U.S.-Mexico Environmental Forum, and there were a lot of trade officials there, and one of the words I kept hearing was nearshoring. A lot of U.S. and Mexico officials think that that's going to continue to be a big topic in the near future, in the next few years, as more companies move back to North America to take advantage of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement.
Excellent. Well, Noah, I am certainly excited for the growth that Mexico is primed for, and thanks so much for joining us this morning for this segment.
Thank you.
Right now, we're going to toss it over to the wall for our first carrier update of the morning.